party has tracked the Afridi named Namnu to a shisha bar nestled in the southern slums of the city of Brass. They approach the owner and ask for a quote-unquote Crimson Rays shisha, the code word they tortured out of a cultist back in Waterdeep. The owner nods and directs them to a back room, from there a basement. Sat behind the desk is the red-skinned Afridi they've been searching for. Namnu gazes up from his tome and says, "I knew the Crimson Rays code word would bring you here. Now, I wish for you to feel your skin burn from your flesh from your bone, and your bone from your soil." With that, Namnu turns gaseous and slips out a cracky place in the wall. The party turns, and an undead giant looms behind them. Flames burst from its mouth and wounds. Its eyes begin to glow, and the party all makes death saves to avoid the searing heat. So today's video is on the Firegaunt. Let's start off with what Bigby tells us about the Firegaunt. So Firegaunts are huge undead husks of what was once a fire giant. Firegaunts look like charred corpses with magical crimson flames flowing through its veins, out its wounds, and out its mouth. The innate burning hatred from within the creature prevents it from moving on to the afterlife, and so lives on to cause as much destruction of living things as possible. Bigby compares the Firegaunt to a spectre, in that it doesn't necessarily seek redemption, but merely to cause as much destruction as possible before it is inevitably killed. What about mechanics? Well, the obvious comparison for the Firegaunt is the Fire Giant. The two creatures are quite similar, with notable differences being that the Firegaunt's necrotic resistance and poison immunity, which makes sense for being an undead. For no clear reason, the Firegaunt has an additional 10 feet of movement speed over the Fire Giant. The Firegaunt is missing a regular ranged attack, such as the rock attack of the Fire Giant, but instead possesses a flavorful cone area of effect called a Crimson Ray, which has a recharge similar to a Dragon's Breath weapon. The Firegaunt has lower base damage on its melee attack compared to the Fire Giant, but possesses the ability to cause the maul to erupt with flames once per turn, giving it an impressive additional 6d6 damage, split equally between fire and necrotic. So in conclusion, for a creature which didn't even receive a full page of lore and mechanics, I'm surprised how much I like the Firegaunt. Don't get me wrong, it has limitations and no clear role-playing hooks in its lore, and it's a bit one note in its presentation. It's literally just Fire Giant meets Undead meets Fire Elemental, but the elements come together quite well, and the mechanics add to the flavour. I could see this monster being like brute muscle for an Afridi in the City of Brass, or perhaps as a second phase of a boss fight against a big bad Fire Giant boss. One final point I'd like to add is how easily giants seem to be able to live on as undead through sheer force of will. Maybe all the liches who sold their soul to Orcus could learn a thing or two. Anyway, I give the creature a 14 out of 20. I really liked it.